Today, we're going to be creating this knockout design. This is an updated version of a previous video. Please join me. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Susan with Blue Vinyl Stickers, and as you can see from the intro, I have a brand new intro. It is called Create, and what this is a more advanced instruction for those of you who have had your software for a while. You know where all the bells and whistles are, and don't want me to explain, I'm clicking here, I'm clicking here, I'm clicking here. I might do that. If I do, just please forgive me. I am going to go through the design and with very minimal talking. I will tell you what I'm clicking on so you can follow along. I just can't talk today. So you can follow along and watch me create this design. As you see, we're going to create Matthew and Kathy Forever. So I'm going to use a few things in the business edition that you may not have in editions that are not in the lesser or lower versions of the software. So the first thing that we are going to be using is the Flexi shape panel. And I'm going to come down here to the heart, click on the heart. Select it. Right mouse click, convert to path, because I'm done messing around with it. I don't need to do anything else with it. And I am going to color it red, of course, and set it off to the side. Now, I do want Matthew and Kathy and Forever to be two separate entities, so that's why I created them separately. This is a font, so I'm coming over here to the text style and center them. You'll see I'm going to center them later on as I create a different design, but for now, we're just going to center them here. Highlight them both, and I'm going to be using a text called Petite Formal Script. Now, Petite Formal Script is a beautiful script, nice for weddings and other things. But if you go and cut this one out in vinyl, as you see, you've got a lot of thin connecting lines. Let me make it black so you can see it. And these lines, if you cut, if your blade is dull or you're having problems with your machine cutting things, these thin lines can be difficult. And when you're doing a knockout design, they can be rather difficult. So I am going to make these a little bit thicker. Click on your offset, and it will put an offset around the outside of everything you have selected. That offset's too big, so I'm going to click my down arrow about 2 or 3 times, and you have to wait for your software to catch up. Doesn't matter how fast your computer is, the software is going to take a few minutes or a few seconds to catch up. So click it a couple times and it will catch up. And I think I wanted it about 75. If you know the thickness that you want, you can just highlight it and type it in. But this, we're just kind of trial and error here. And I seem to be happy with this, so I'm just going to click to the side. Once you click to the side and the offset window turns off, you can't do anything else with it. Now, click on where it's anything black and pull it away. This is a font. This is a picture. You can still mess around with this one. You can type it in, do anything you want with it. This over here is a picture. The only thing you can do is move around the lines. See? You can't do anything else with it. So I'm going to delete this because I don't need it. Get rid of the word forever because I don't need it. It's done its thing. And so these are what I'm going to be working with. Now, if they are not connected, as in touching, they're not connected. Okay, so we want to make sure that the word forever stays forever together. So highlight it, right mouse click, and group it. So let's go ahead and I want to move these. Oops, didn't want to do that. Now, if you want to make the letters bigger or taller, like I did, grab that and you can do anything you want with it. That's the little handles. And since this is now a picture and not a font, we're going to go to the transform window and we're going to align them vertically, or align the centers. Okay, if you didn't see that, click the wrong one. Click that one. I like that. Highlight, right mouse click, and group. And you see I didn't get the and. So use the back and the back, ungroup them, highlight them both, all three of them, and group them now. And now I got the and. Let's make this an obnoxious color so you can see it. Bring this back over here and size it. Okay, and we're going to make this an obnoxious color. Size it. Okay, I want to make sure that the forever is centered on the heart, so I'm selecting both the heart and the forever. Align them horizontally. If I do the same thing with the Matthew, what it's going to do is it's going to take the center of Matthew and put it in the center of the heart. And I like where this is right now. And make it just a touch bigger. So if I highlight just both of those and do that, see what happens? And I don't want that. That takes it over there too far. So where it is right there is perfect. It may not be the greatest design around, but this is going to work for me. Okay, now this is our basic design. This is what I want to have as my knockout. Now you're asking yourself, great, now how do I make a knockout? Very, very easy. Just a couple of steps, a couple of clicks. First thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight everything on the screen, right mouse click, and group it because I want to make a duplicate. This duplicate is my insurance policy, and I'm going to slide it off to the side. It's my insurance policy, so if I mess up here, I have another copy over here, and I don't have to worry about putting things back together and getting them exact. I can just duplicate this one again. We'll be deleting it later, but right now, this is just my insurance policy. Set it off to the side. We are going to ungroup this because remember we grouped it to set it over there. Now we're going to ungroup it because we're going to work each piece individually. I'm going to click on Matthew and it puts up all these tools, and I'm going to go to the offset window again. Now this is a good offset. Gives you enough room around each letter. You don't want to go too thin. If you go too thin, you will have a hard time placing your decal when you go to layer it. And if you have it too close, you can manage to overlay the edges of the vinyl and you'll have a ridge that you'll never be able to get rid of. So I like the default of the 0.125 and I am going to say apply. And I'm going to do the same thing down here with forever and say offset, and it puts it around it, and I'm happy with that. And I'm going to click off of it. And now take and get rid of the Matthew and the forever for the moment. Just set them to the side. Don't get rid of them because we will be using them. Don't touch anything here. Click on this one and make it an obnoxious color. And it's an obnoxious color just because it needs to be an obnoxious color. Okay. For us to do a knockout design, you cannot do an outline. It needs to be a solid shape. Now, remember what we're creating here is those white spaces that I showed you around the letters. So you can place your letters in here. Once you have that, then select everything that is on your screen here, and we're going to come over here to subtract. Let your machine think, and there you go. And let me get rid of this grid because it's a little confusing. So let's just turn off your grid real quick. Now, I don't want all these little pieces in there. See, if I brought this back over and did this, it would look okay. It would look great. But the problem is that when you go to weed this, all of these little pieces will not stay on your mat. And there's really no reason to have these little teeny pieces in there. So we're just going to grab them because they are individual pieces now. Let me look at something real quick. There's some letters you want it, some you don't. Let me look at the O. If I leave the O, then I'm going to have to leave the V. So let's just get rid of them all. And just make a little pile over here. Just click and drag. And everything else is gone. Highlight and delete. And at this point in time, you can actually delete this because everything went fine. We don't need to make a duplicate. So I'm going to delete that. Now, this is a solid piece, and this is a solid piece, you see? I want this to stay where it is. So highlight it, right mouse click, and group it. I group everything. Don't like things moving around. Now, take and make this black, the black outline, this, and then make it with a red outline. Okay, and I'm going to put this back together. Highlight it all, right mouse click, and group it together. This is our finished design. This is, so at this point in time, I am going to save this, and I'm going to save it as both an SVG, and I'm going to save it as a Studio 3 file. So the first thing I need to do is File, Save As, Save to my library. And I am going to save it, as I did before here, I'm going to save it as Heart Design 1. And if I duplicate this, it will actually just duplicate it in the library. So here it is here. If you go back and you look, there it is. Now, I want to send this to my in-laws so she can cut this where she is. So I say File, Save As, and I'm going to save this to my hard drive. And I'm going to save it to this folder here, and it's a folder that I already had open. And in the Designer Edition and lower, you cannot do this. You need the Business Edition to be able to do this. Right, or just click on the down arrow. Here is an SVG, PNG, JPEG. You want to choose, for our purposes right now, we want to choose an SVG. A PNG is a transparent background picture, and a JPEG is just a picture file without a transparent background. Those I will cover in another lesson. Right now, we're just going to deal with SVG. So we're going to click on SVG, and we're going to call it Heart Design, and we're going to say Save. And so now my design is there, and I can send it to whoever I want to in a email or upload it to a website for sale. And it will, when you bring it back into your software, it will cut just fine. So now I'm going to show you what happens. If you have a SVG that you have purchased, all I do is click and drag and bring it over. And it will, as long as it says move, you can take it off your screen and on your screen. And there it is. Once you click off of it, though, it is in your software. You can't remove it without saying highlight and delete, or just deleting the whole tab. Now, if you want to open an SVG file in your software, click the open file and click the heart design, and there it is. So those are the two ways to get the design into your software if it is an SVG design. All right, we are going to go ahead and cut this now. And to set this up for cutting is very simple. I want to first resize this. So I'm going to just highlight it and drag it down to the size I want. Or I can come over here to the transform window, and I am going to make them make this a 6-inch design. So type in 6, hit enter. Okay, I want to duplicate this, and I'm going to put it down here. Now let me get the grid on so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to ungroup, and I am going to highlight the forever and delete it, and highlight Matthew and Kathy and delete it. And this is still one design, so I want to make sure that it's all one. Now I'm going to place this on my grid so that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be the piece of red that I am going to be cutting, and that'll be my base piece for the decal. Same thing down here. Right mouse click, ungroup. This time we're going to get rid of the heart, so grab it, pull it, delete it. This is what I want next. Now this is two separate pieces, it looks like, so highlight them both, right mouse click, and group. And you can take this one and move it up here and put it right next to that red piece. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, a 5 by 5 black piece. And cut these separately, or excuse me, not separately, but cut them with a red piece here and a black piece here. Weed them and then place them together. I do have a video that shows how to do that. It is the original knockout design that says mother or mom. I'm not quite sure at this point which one I did. And I do go over how to place these together an easy way. So right now I have a heart that has a red outline, as you can see, and words that have black outline. And I can do one of two things. I can come over here to the send panel, and I can cut on line, and it will cut everything the same way. I just choose my settings and say send, and I can go. If you prefer to cut line, then you can change the settings on your blade. So if I wanted to have Matthew and Kathy in black gloss and I wanted to have the heart in red glitter, then I can come over here and select red, choose the down arrow, and I can go down here to where I have glitter. I have glitter somewhere down here. There it is, vinyl glitter. And it will change that setting for me to a 4 and a 3 and a 4th of a 15, because I know that's what it takes to cut the vinyl glitter. And then it will go here to the black and watch the settings down here. It will change the blade to a 1 and a 4 and a 10, and it will cut them both. So I can put them both on the same mat, save myself some time and some effort, and that I will have a beautiful decal once it's put back together. I go ahead and click send, and send it over to the machine, and it will go ahead and cut. That's pretty much how you do a knockout design. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns about this video, please go ahead and tell me in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and like or subscribe as I back up here and get to my original design so you can see it. This is what it will look like if I did it in glitter. This is what it would look like in glitter. All right, everybody. I hope that was informative. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.